Hello, I'm Jean McDonald, and I do transitions coaching. I help people who are new to caregiving to learn some basics on how to be a good caregiver, and most importantly, how to take care of yourself while you're in the caregiver role. I bring to you 65 years of life experience and hopefully can help make your journey much shorter as I share the little things that I've learned along the way and am still learning. Well, this series is about 10 ways to cope with big changes, and it's based on an article from Psychology Today. It was written in 2017 by Stephanie Sarkis, and today we'll cover point number 5, and that is exercise. Now, it's hard when you're going through a stressful situation to get back into any kind of regular exercise routine, even if you had one. You might not have had one before the stressful situation. And now your routine is disrupted. It's hard to take a chunk of time to do what you used to do. I used to play tennis several times a week in the summer here in Port Angeles. And if I didn't get to tennis or if I had an injury, because as I'm getting older and putting on more weight, exercise can be a little more traumatic. So I also play pickleball. And I found that as I've gone through several stressful situations in the last 2, 3 years, that my exercise schedule it's harder to take a whole morning to hang out with the tennis people, that my schedule got tighter, and I've suffered the effects of it. I'm not as strong as I used to be. I've dealing with weight issues because when you exercise a lot, you get to eat more, and food is really one of my pleasures in life. So anyway, so as you go through a big change, a big transition in your life, try to try to find some form of exercise, even if it's not your regular exercise, something that you can do. I found a wonderful little app on my phone that just gives these easy exercises that you can do laying down in bed. You can do some leg lifts, you can do some arm exercises, you can do some very light abdominal and buttocks exercises just laying down in bed. And these types of exercises are great if your transition includes traveling, because I know when I travel, no matter what hotel I'm staying in, I don't really want to get down on the floor and do exercises. Even with a towel down there, there's something kind of gross about that. So I've always tended to want to do some basic exercises while traveling in bed, or go down if there's an exercise room. I found with my life in the last 2 years, taking care of my brother who I moved up here from New Mexico, who because he had actually a brain hemorrhage, followed 2 months later with a seizure. And he's been on medication. He's suffering from mild cognitive impairment. He's living alone. He's on a good medication now, and he's functioning fairly well. His impairments increasing a little bit, but not to the point where we really have to monitor him very much. But what I found is, instead of going down to the Y and doing exercises, or even trying to play pickleball again, is to just work in the yard. I've gotten back, this summer has been great for getting back into gardening, and it's something I love to do. I can go out first thing in the morning, and I don't have to dress up to go down to the club, or have to wait for a certain time for a class to start. I can just roll out of bed, go out in my garden and work for an hour or two. And it's not heavy duty aerobic exercise, but it's exercise. I'm lifting, I'm pulling weeds, I'm mowing. Well, I try to do the mowing a little later when the neighbors are awake, but I'm out there working and getting some physical movement in. And that to me is very calming. And that's what you exercise, no matter what type of exercise, if you're high intensity with your exercise, or gardening, walking, doing simpler, slower exercise, that exercise really helps balance that extra stress that you're taking on when you're going through a big change. So if you exercise now, keep that up. If you're going through a big change and you find that you're exercising less, you're going to start feeling worse, which is going to increase your stress. So find some small ways to just add a little bit of exercise back into your life. And there's so many wonderful apps and things that you can find on YouTube or on apps that can help you just do some simple exercises each day. Build up your momentum again if it's been a while since you exercised, and find ways to use that exercise to help relieve the stress and help you cope through this change. So I hope today's video has helped you. We'll come back to this article again with number 6 of the 10 ways to cope with big change, and that will be to seek support. And that's a topic I love to talk about. So speaking of support, I have a website called Care Without Despair, and that is my caregiver support group information is there, as well as coaching and classes on caregiving. My other website, jeanmcdonald.com, has more information on my availability for speaking to groups, or creating classes for small groups or group coaching. So with that, get through the stress. And once again, as I've stressed in each of these videos about stress, is be patient with yourself. Don't get in your head and make the stress work by trying to push yourself faster than you really need to cope with stress and change. Let yourself process. Don't take forever, but it's like grief. You need to go at your own schedule, be patient with yourself, and keep moving. Keep making keep what am I saying? Keep patient with yourself, and process at your own level, and you'll eventually get through this with flying colors. Take care. Bye-bye.